This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. The Public Hospitals Authority clearing the air on a memo outlining the Princess Margaret Hospital's dialysis transport fees. In it, the PHA stressed that it has not implemented a new fee structure on the service and that transport services are being provided at prices determined by a private contractor. The memo goes on to point out that the dialysis treatment fee per session has not increased from its gazetted $275. The clarification comes on the heels of a leaked internal memo noting that a request to impose a fee on dialysis transport had been reviewed and supported with stipulations, namely that there be a one-way charge of $25 to or from the dialysis unit and a $50 round-trip charge to and from the unit. The proposed start date was Monday, September 3rd, much to the dismay and disgust of some, including opposition MP Glenys Hanna Martin. In its defense, Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands yesterday argued that the Princess Margaret Hospital collects less than $500,000 for the $25 million worth of dialysis services, adding that transportation is not one of the mandated services. He further pointed out that while he would love to be able to provide services at no cost, this year he has a $50 million shortfall. Some 463 people are reportedly on dialysis at a total cost of between $50,000 and $80 per year per patient. Meantime, the national flag carrier has taken a whole lot of flack in recent days after many of its passengers were inconvenienced for hours on end due to issues with flights inbound and outbound. Minister responsible Dionisio Diagler says the problem is the airline only has 8 planes. When one is down, then this is crippling.
We lost a Boeing 737 on a Saturday in August, a busy weekend. All the planes were full. So when that plane went down, we couldn't shift it to other carriers, nor could we lease any planes on a very short-term notice. So, you know, as you're fixing the plane, you're thinking, okay, it may take 1 hour, 2 hours, and it ended up taking 36 hours to fix that plane. And so we had to go to plan B, which is to use the ATRs to bring people back. Well, an ATR is either 42 seats or 70 seats. A Boeing 737 is 120 seats. And if they're all traveling full, it causes enormous delays.
The minister says while that plane was fixed, there's another one that went down soon after, leaving the airline in a bind.
Bahamas here has the most impeccable safety record of any airline in the Caribbean. And sometimes it leads to let's err on the side of safety, and that plane is now going to be out of service, I think, for the next month. So while we address some issues with that plane. And it's unfortunate, but it creates delays because we just don't have additional aircraft, redundant aircraft that we can pull into service. But I've instructed them to ensure. I mean, we're going into a slow period now, September and October, so we think we can manage without that jet. Our inability to lease a jet in the collection, as we say, led to the nightmare that we had. So I apologize to the Bahamian people for that.
4 men are counting their blessing after being rescued from a sinking vessel last night. A RBDF Harbor Patrol Unit Safe Response boat discovered the disabled vessel after 8 p.m., approximately 2 nautical miles northwest of Sandals Key. The men were reportedly found on the stern of the partially submerged 70-foot catamaran. Authorities say apart from being a little exhausted, the 2 Bahamians and 2 Americans were in fair health and subsequently taken to the Harbor Patrol Unit where they were provided medical care. The men were released following an investigation. Chief Justice Stephen Isaacs' untimely death delving a blow to House Speaker Halston Moultrie, who deems it most unusual for the head of executive, legislature, or judiciary to die while in office. Having crossed paths with Mr. Isaacs many times over a 40-year period, Mr. Moultrie said his ascension to the post of CJ is a testimony to perseverance, a commitment and dedication to a life of hard work, and an admirable legacy in the judicial branch of government. He remained true, said Mr. Moultrie, to his convictions to the very end. The House Speaker suggests that to honor the late CJ's legacy, each generation should commit itself to the idea of strengthening and preserving all the democratic elements. Chief Justice Isaacs passed away last Friday at Doctors Hospital. He was 63. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.